Take 3. Hello, this is yours truly, Claristi, and today is the 4th of June 2025. So, this is the third time that I will attempt to finish this video recording. The first two, something happened. The first two attempt to do it. Well, anyway, this recording is also, I think, uh, um, it is much needed actually by as a sort of I am not telegraphing the next moves that I am making. Actually, I am sharing the specificities. Yes, um, in times past. Um, Wait. Okay, to go on, I can classify the concerns that I am facing on at least three classifications, like on the legal front, on the moral side, like how morality as defined here in our locality, in the local setting, and also as we coordinate and we make our move towards being part of a bigger community. So, and it is expected actually, or else I would not have attended so many seminars. I would not have attempted to be part, my application to, of course, to be a better writer, to be a better speaker, and also, with my music, had it if it is not my goal really, I would have followed a different footsteps, the well paved road. Yeah, so I think that will fall on the moral side of this conversation, wherein it's not about the legality, it's not about the law that's being broken or that's being violated, but in the context of a relationship, whether my choices, lawful choices, of course, actually hurt or become a stumbling block to another. So that's the moral side of it. And then the other is the doctrinal, theological, and my belief as a Christian. I have, the last time that I had attended church, there is no going around it actually. I have received some invitations to attend the church, and I truly, truly have nothing against going, attending church. It's just that it would complicate the baggage that I will bring to the to the peaceful community of brothers and sisters, organized, the, who have organized themselves accordingly. Like the elders, the deacons, the moment that I become part of it, I would be bringing the legal impediments, and it would be subject to so many uh, rules like do's and don'ts. The conversation would be altered, and the spontaneity, it would be more contrived because it might, since we could not talk specific matters, like we cannot talk directly about the things that truly concern us, but we have to skip some topics because they are taboo, and only now can we somewhat feel the restraint on our relationship and on our conversation loosen up. But during that time, it could not. So I truly, how God would be dealing with the church on their how personal relationship is. I would be an unwanted um, source of conflict between God's law and man's law, then the morality of it, then it's so many things. Right now, since everything is pretty much classified, what's on the legal front, what's on the moral side, and what it is inevitable to receive criticism about the perception that somehow, because of the my my course of action, like who do you think I am, that I have removed myself in the mainstream, like I had lost communication, I had lost contact, I'm not going to church on Sundays, and I have not been part of the community since what. And the reason is also threefold: on the legal front, on the moral side, and also on the doctrinal issues. But one thing I want to further elaborate on is, how do I view myself in the grand scheme of things, like the universal church of God, and given the different perspectives and denominations. How do I see myself? What do I see myself like 5 years from now? How do I see myself? Yes. So that is what I want to talk about, because I have, if I will say that I know definitely that I know a lot of things that the great theologians, those who have been graduates of the Bible school, who have been pastoring the churches, like I would go against their doctrinal beliefs and how their biblical viewpoints. It is, far be it for me to assert my authority, especially like my knowledge about the Bible, its principles, and that I am appointing myself as someone who has an authority over something, like over the reason. Well, anyway, the reason that I would like to get in touch and to become part of the community, a bigger community, it's also the directional flow of knowledge. It's not from me towards them, but actually it's from you guys towards me. There was a time that, as an immature and still very much so many things to learn Christian, my sense of justice, my sense of right and wrong, my morality, my moods, if you can call it mood swings, it can be like a pendulum from 1 minute to another, because I didn't know how I would feel, and then if I feel it, why is it clashing against what seems to be the right and wrong? So many confusion, and I think I am not alone in that, the confusing stage of our journey of our humanity. So at that time, it doesn't manifest my moods when I am really so bothered, like when I am sad, when I am happy. Nothing, there is no manifestations, there is no visible manifestations, there is no change. But the more I grew in the grace and the knowledge of our Lord, I have become more stable, and I have learned to be more disciplined. And then slowly also, things happen outside of me, that even if I am a very good actress, even if I am very good at spinning things, if I have become an accomplished chameleon, yeah, hiding behind a facade, putting up a facade, and blending with the environment. Like if I don't want to stand out like a sore thumb, or I don't want to be out of the ordinary. That's how the first half of my life actually. I didn't want to be seen. I was seen as an introvert, which had helped me become a better writer because as a writer, it's a lonely job, and it's the thinking process. It doesn't help when you're in the crowd. When you have a busy social life, it intrudes on the time that I should write. So I was perceived to be that niece, that cousin who was introvert, who was that into the being center of attraction, something like that, who is so far from the narcissist reputation that I had earned after a career choice, after it became impractical to hide, to be a chameleon, blending, not standing up, and becoming upfront about what's happening. That had happened actually because my emotions, when I became, when I'm sad and I still, project happiness, I cannot pretend what I truly feel. And I don't, far be it for me to be the one to share how they are manifested. Like if I feel like I want to cry, and that I did, in 2003, 2004, I was always crying, and it was always raining, something like that. And then later on, I have learned, to put more control, self-control over myself, over my emotions, over my response or reaction to outside stimuli, to things that bug me, to things that hurt me, and that I didn't want to happen, that I didn't want to conform with. I felt some injustice, yeah. And I tried to laugh about it, but still it manifests what I truly feel. I it it started that way. I could not hide it. That if I feel so down, and even if I don't cry, things happen. If I get tired, and I want to project energy, and I don't want to dampen the mood of everyone by acting, so exhausted, and so it still something happened that it is manifested. Therefore, I am not the only person who is affected by my emotions, by my sense of rights and wrong. Good thing that it happened when I was already matured by comparison, relatively speaking. That the turmoil that I experience, like the chaos, if I feel like blowing up in my anger, I am able to get a grip, and it nothing happens. But when so far, like I live here, there's some kind of boredom. Yeah, sometimes it can get to me. Sometimes the monotony of things. I am like there was temptation to 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 do something that could change or alter the path, like somehow I cannot divulge about it because that will fall on the legal front and on the moral side, which I need to speak with other people. And I cannot preempt the coming conversations. So, what I am saying is that when I am full of happiness and sunshiny, and that it's a downcast day, somehow I would find it, you know, I would be more, I would be happier, like if it's a brighter day, something like that. So what I'm saying is that in the past years that I was listening to different Christians speaking, theologists and doctrine and doctors of like they call it the divinity, and they are learned, yes, they are, as compared to me especially. It it somehow shapes my my belief system that can also influence how I truly feel. That's why if I, during that time, if I, just for the sake of it, to fake what I truly feel, like, oh, this sucks. This company sucks. I don't want to be here. I don't want to listen to the discussion that I don't agree with. It would be an internal struggle for me. And somehow, I cannot be not honest about myself because it manifests. And this manifestation also affect other people. That I would think is my quote and unquote uniqueness, in that I have to guard against, my heart, what can make me happy and what can make me sad. Because for other people, they only have themselves to contend with. And somehow, uh, like when I was in Tagaytay, that was actually the first, I was in Seagull's Flight Foundation. I was, the workload that I was doing, I was literally crawling to my bed at night sometimes. And to this day, I am thankful for that experience because it helped me, like my stamina, my patience, my endurance, yes, and my emotions, how when to let loose, when to let the steam out, and when to keep it together until it's safe to, something like that. Self-control. It had helped me. So the question is, my friend had brought this up, the criminal justice. Was I there because it's a penalty? Like it would add value, it would assuage the feeling of injustice by the victim, by my victim. If so, I should know, right? So that I will not do it again. Um, yes, that's legal mindset. And was I put in the rehab to protect those victims, or to protect me against myself? So, in the years that passed, I had to, like, do some soul searching and also look at my legal status in order to not just find out things from one source, but from different sources. Since there is the legal front, there is the moral side, and there is the doctrinal side. So the sense of responsibility was could have been daunting without a proper grounding, like if I had not known of my limitations and how God is in control and how God knows best that, the things that can overwhelm me, I have learned how to let go and to internalize who's in charge, really. Because for an ordinary person, like an ordinary person going through a very emotional event, like extreme anger, extreme sadness, pressure, that person has his or herself to contend with, along with like the people, the immediate people beside her, like within striking distance, right? But for someone whose emotions would manifest into something bigger or greater, that has a bigger responsibility, and it has it is an incentive for me to align with how what will help, like wherein I don't have to mask my what I truly feel and how I would look at things. Like even if the majority believes in the belief of, like say, the humanity of Christ, like that God, that Jesus Christ is a full man and a full God. And like if I am going to be in the middle of Christians or not who believe otherwise, I could pretend that I share the belief. But the thing is, I truly have to be convinced. Otherwise, there would be an internal struggle, and such emotion can bring me down. And somehow, the manifestations of being so conflicted in chaos, they manifest something. And so it affects. So it for me it is a better policy for me to be upfront and to be honest about what I truly feel. That's why I am not imposing my belief on the learned, the Christians who have earned their stripes, the apologists. It is not me imposing my beliefs on them, but it's the other way around. I am learning because it helps me convince myself first and foremost, so that I will be honest with myself. And if I am honest with myself, my emotions go along with it, that it is not a runaway emotions of extreme anger or extreme sadness. Like that is the part where I have a not an ordinary circumstance that somehow it affects not just me. And the more that as I grow older, it becomes clearer and clearer. So there is a somehow the saying that, to whom much has been given, much is required. Um, there was when I had been clueless as to what I was truly had been given, deserved or not. That it's I think it's still up in the air whether I deserve it or not for some people. Because for them, it is not God's prerogative how He does things, like how He gives and takes away, how He showers and deprives someone of many things. Like, why can't it be like how communism, like how socialism is? Like, why not equally give so that everybody would just be and on the average, like 10 people divided by 10, so something like that. Everything is deliberately systematically distributed. No one can be so one percenter, and then no one can be so below the poverty line, something like that. So we all have to live in the basic average or middle income. That is since time immemorial, that has been, the social classes and the political system also. So how many years have man existed, and we're still at it, right? We're still finding the right balance, because somehow the equation where God is sovereign, it's not a universal belief. It is like concentrated on the marginalized Christians, right? And we cannot impose our belief system. So this is a period we try to get along, and as we await the we believe to be our king, our coming king. So for now, we try to get along, and we do our best, right? So on the accusation that I had gotten so swollen headed, yeah, that I had depicted myself as better, and that I am a teacher, and that I have I have taken on the mantle of one thing and everything. That is so not true. Otherwise, it would show how I would be all over. It would show I cannot hide what's happening with me internally, because that's really what I really had been the thorn in my flesh, if I can say that. To being in a fishbowl, if I could just, if I could just make it the least controversial or contentious, I could just blend in and like be the wall, like a chameleon. But it still shows what I truly feel, how I truly feel. Somehow they find a way to be revealed one way or another. So that is already out of the question. The better alternative, the better course of action for me is to really go to the source of my trouble and my problem, and deal with it as honestly as possible. That's why I listen, I learn. So it's not the other way around. It is what I share are the insights that had been processed by me, and not not as a substitute, not as a doctrinal belief that I want to impose. Actually, I stand to be corrected. I share this. I am verbalizing it, because for me, it is a pertinent and relevant talking points that others who have not who I think who do not have this platform, and for one way or another have not uh, are not able to harness their communication skill. But deep inside, I also feel, I mirror some sort of, the internal struggle that they go through. So it is not true that I have taken up the mantle of being a spokesperson or somewhat. I am just a learner who must deal with this as honestly as possible, because what I truly feel inside matters, not just for me, not just for my family, but to a greater number of population. Like in the days to come, it will become more clearer whether, like, I am forever here in Lucena City, right? Also in Tagaytay, I spent 18 months there. So my 18 months there was also documented. So whenever, my emotions, the highs and the lows, and then here in Pleasantville, here in Lucena City, and when the first, like, when when I am not in the place of my birth, yes, that's I can say. If I am in another place, would it still be the same? Uh, can my emotions and my sense of right and wrong will they manifest also, like externally? And that is, I am also open to learning things about how God works. So it is not, it is so, I just want to say, it is so not true that I am taking over some kind of leadership, or starting something like a cult. Come on. And that this self discovery, which I would like to share, somehow it gives data, real data, and it gives a sort of record that is verifiable, that is that can be checked against the standard, the well-established norms. And I am also interested in how it's going to lead us, because it is like it is a more intimate knowledge about somehow a lesser known fact. Yes, that's it. So so please, the reason that I am inviting myself, and also that I would invite people, it is not for me to lord it over, or to give some sort of wisdom that I can give. No, it's the other way around. I do hope that the things that I would learn from you, that I would process, and that I could somehow relate to my experiences, to my belief system, and afterwards I can share. Hopefully, God can use everything. Like God causes all things to work together for good for those who love Him and who have been called according to His purpose. So please give me the benefit of the doubt that the decisions that I had made them prayerfully, and that it was not to glorify and to glamorize, or to sensationalize the choices that I made, or to, for me to rise above and to be somehow different, and to whatever whatever is in the garden variety of that spectrum, where one exalts himself, like how humility and the lessons on submission had been so lacking, that those who choose to educate me about submission and humility would themselves cut corners, and be the ones to be in trouble for cutting corners, and for actually violating the law, and by you know by means that are not as transparent, or as upfront. They themselves would somehow find themselves dealing with the moral side of it. Like, then is there a need to tamper with the records? Is it not illegal? Is it lawful to somehow preempt things, so that the scenario would change, rather than what actually is the reality? So, on the doctrinal, theological side of it, it is in the horizon, I think. Will it have to delve into that? I think that is inevitable. So once again, I just want to say that it is not an abandonment of all the things that I have learned in the churches that I've been. Or is it that I want to impose my belief or I want to start something new? It is a natural pathway for me to be as honest in my in my inner person as to be the outer man, or else there can be a turmoil, and it's not good for me to be chaotic, to have this disturbance, because these disturbance manifest themselves, the 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 highs and lows, what can get me down, what can make me so happy, that if they are not aligned with the things that are real, then I am subjected to, to the changeable, and to so many variables. And that is not what we are called for, isn't it? We are called to align ourselves with the person who said, I am the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I am unchanging, immutable. It doesn't mean that an inflexible, or narrow-minded. It's just that he had already given the grace as a means for us to recover. And yeah, so that's it for now. And I would see you soon, especially after this coming week of many appointments where I also have to elaborate and give an account. Last thing before I go, on the moral side, on being grateful. Gratitude doesn't mean that I should be asked to put the toothpaste back into the tube. Like, if I had already been helped by the training, by the education, and I am already applying it and using this, being grateful, let me share what I have learned, what I have become, because it is impossible for me to be the person who did not know all this. It would be impossible to be the person who had not learned the lesson from being two extremes. Like, it would not, it would be impossible for me, once the toothpaste had been squeezed out of the tube, to put them back to the tube, especially when the toothpaste is not, the plastic. It used to be that it was like an aluminum container, that once you have squeezed it, the marks of your hand on the tube would conform the aluminum container, and it is so impossible for the original form to be back. Something like one who had been born again to go back to the womb and once again literally to be born again. That's not being ungrateful, to remain an adult while believing different things, right? So that was my appeal. Let me be grateful and show appreciation in a way that is feasible and realistic, and not as a person who would pretend to have not been taught the lesson, to have not used that education, that training into becoming the person that I am now, and to ignore what had just happened in the past 5 years, 10 years. We are different. We are all different from how and who we used to be, right? And the greater part of it is, how we have grown as a person. That's so cliche, but I wish that I have different ways to say it, like how we had responded to to the things that cannot be controlled, that are beyond our control. Because for sure, the easiest part of it is those that we can remedy, like in cooking. If it's too salty, okay, let's add water. It's within our control. But say the chicken had been overcooked, it's already like, it will not be cooked. It will not, cooking it some more will not get the chicken back to its firmer, you know, before it became so overcooked. Like the bones have already what, almost dissolved by the pressure. So we cannot a wishful thinking. We cannot have the wishful thinking that we can bring back the time at the time that the chicken was still raw, and that we would have that control, that chance to do it right. Some things are not, yeah, the passage of time. And I hope that I had made sense. Thank you so much. And it turns out that it's not a very short video. Well, that's it. And until next time, bye.